it's hard to not throw him in the equation.
Even though Kirkman has been way off script for
and that's
what,
my thing is,
like season 1 forward, he's been off script completely.
I think my top two, because here's the thing is I think they know if they kill Glenn that's going to be a swing to the fans, because there's not a whole lot of people left from the
but they're
original
due
cast.
for a swing to the fence too.
That's true. I think it's either Abraham or Eugene.
Eugene was my choice because of all the people in that episode. Eugene got to say goodbye, which was really blatant. Which is why I also think it's not Eugene, because they don't do that.
He sacrificed himself already. He
right.
didn't break the plans for the ammo.
Yes.
He volunteered to sacrifice himself by driving the SUV off. Now, here's where I don't think it is.
Actually, that's what the entire internet agrees with you 100%.
I think the reason that it might be Abraham is because even though Eugene has come out as a survivor, I don't think Eugene takes the first swing to the head and is still sitting up. He hits the dude in the
that
head.
is like the coolest point ever, right?
He's right in the head, and he actually pulls the bat back and says, "Man, you took that like a champ." I feel like there's only a couple people in that lineup that could take that hit and not just instantly fall over.
That's super nerdy and
Let me
super
ask
correct.
you, why hasn't nobody ever suspected Negan killing a female?
Well, and see, when they talked to Norman Reedus like 3 days after that, Norman Reedus said, when you find out who dies, it's going to rip your heart out. So a lot of people were instantly switching to Maggie. I'm not saying he couldn't kill Maggie. I said I come back to the hit with the bat. Because 5 people in that line, if he smokes them in the head with a bat, they just instantly fall.
Hold on. That would be... Sasha was on the other end, though.
No, I'm thinking it could be Michonne.
Oh, that would just the world would explode. Jeez. I mean, first of all, they're petitioning because they don't know. If they kill Michonne, this early? Man.
Well, I think she's a possibility.
And of course, this one over here who can't say nothing is loving this stuff.
The good part about being in this business is that I get to be familiar with a lot of the actors' schedules and a lot of the inside stuff
that he can't tell us, which is what I love about the show.
But let me put it this way: when I was doing season 4, I already knew everything that's happened this last season. I knew about the cliffhanger in Negan. I knew the whole deal of Glenn.
He's a time traveler.
And yeah, actually I am. I'm part of the new DC Legends of Tomorrow, if you didn't know.
Do you like that show?
I love the show.
Wow.
I love the show. And I'll tell you why, since we're going to spin off of that real quick.
Go to that side of the table.
I will tell you why. I'm a very big Firefly fan.
Woo! And who's not a Firefly fan?
And it brings that kind of resemblance to it, even though they got, the whole different Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the B version of the Avengers with them. But anyway. But long story short, the actors on a lot of these hit shows have a lot of great things that are offered.
Okay, the actor in him, for those of you who are listening, the actor in him had to stop and pose for the picture while he was talking, and it was super, It was super skillful, too.
And
especially since it's so unconscious.
The story that a lot of them don't know that it's going to happen to them. If they do, I was doing the prison when everybody was sick in the prison, and that's when they told Scott that he was going to die. That his character Herschel was going to die, and
he took it like a champ too.
So yeah. I mean, he pretty much told them they're going to make a big mistake, and sure enough, of course, everybody got upset of it. So
I wasn't. I mean, that's the one thing, the downside to me, because at some point, like this last season, they didn't do anything to anybody, which had me paranoid, freaking out. Like at the rest of it, we would sit around and talk about it like, man, they ain't hurt nobody yet.
Yeah.
They faked it Glenn a couple of times, which was, to me, one of the most favorite things that when they faked the first Glenn death, and they faked it, the world was pissed.
You know what's funny?
They were all holding their breath, upset. And then they went and did like 2 episodes later when they did Daryl, and Chris comes on and is like, please don't even worry about it. If he was actually dead, I wouldn't be here. So even got work.
Yeah, Norman's got a big market with them. But, if you didn't know, there's like 80% of Easter eggs from season 1 to the current season that would give you a lot of hints of what's going on. Negan and Lucille were actually in season 4. Nobody knew it.
Right.
There's Glenn. With Glenn, in the beginning of this season, Glenn was talking to Jesus in the trailer. This is before the first episode was, and Glenn was talking to Jesus, and they were all in a group. Here comes Glenn in a trash dump, and everybody thinks he's dead. And I get all these Comic-Con questions. Is Glenn dead? I'm like, watch the trailer. Watch season 6. Watch season 6 trailer.
I knew he wasn't. I knew he wasn't going to die there. First of all, it's a terrible place to die. It's a terrible place, terrible way.
Right.
When he does die,
that's The Walking Dead. Don't give a shit.
But no. When he dies, I guarantee you, when he dies, because it's going to be heart wrenching. It's going to be with Maggie. Or those two are going to be together. When one of them died, they're going to be together because fans are going to be pissed. And as someone who's actually done some directing, to piss the fans off a little bit without them actually wanting to kill me, that's awesome, So I would do that. I would literally put them, they'd be facing each other, and I'd put a bullet through one day, like when they did Dr. Denise. Oh, that was so bad. I was so pissed. I was so mad. She hit me when they did it because she was like, ah! I was like, oh my God. So did you have any experiences where what they were doing? You were like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever.
Shot her.
Yeah, I had a great experience. You know what? I took Chandler Riggs. Me and Chandler Riggs were talking on set. He had this 9mm Beretta 9mm. And I was in the military, of course, Right. I was like, talking about different things of a 9mm. And I was like, if you ever get jumped or something, there's always, most people carry Berettas. That's one of the most famous kind of handguns for,
right.
stylish wise. And there's a second safety in the Beretta. And what it is that you cock the chamber back, and you can squeeze the trigger and it won't go off.
Right.
It's like somebody pulls a gun, you just put it as tight as you can on their chest,
right,
and they could pull the trigger and it won't run. So I took the handgun apart and put it back together in like 6 seconds and showed them all that. And it was just me and Chandler. I look up, and we're about to go hot. And I look up, and the sound guy has his thing out here. He goes, wait. Can you do that again? Wait. Santiago's doing something. I look up, there's Lauren. There's, having a cast there. I'm going, holy shit. But that was a cool experience because they weren't used to all that. And then, they brought the tank in, and we were doing military talk. And all of a sudden, here's me carrying this rifle. And they were like, do you know how to use this? I was like, I think I do. I was in the infantry for 8 years. He was like, oh, no problem. Santiago's ready. Did my own stunt and everything. It was funny.
So Miss Globis, Miss Customer, something I just remembered, and we're talking about Walking Dead, and I'm going to try to get off this topic, but it's to me it's a great show. But I'm going to stick on television, your weak topic, for just a second. But it's a weak topic in your favor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, I love that you watch Sense8. Has anyone seen Sense8? As a matter of fact, are we caught up on Netflix TV shows?
And I
Everybody.
love all the people who were like, "Can you believe they showed that on television?" Like, when have they not shown that on television? Right?
Actually, the sex scene. That was. How does someone conceive of that, though? I mean, it was amazing.
Right, but it wasn't a sex scene.
I would have never.
It was implied.
It was implied.
It was implied.
I would have never attacked something in that direction. But where I was going with this. I would have never thought to do.
I would have never have attacked something in that direction.
No, that was just wackadoodle crazy. I loved it though. Where I was going with this, because I know what you're caught up on in television. Is everybody caught up on their Netflix though? Has everybody seen?
Not
Daredevil?
me. I'm still Daredevil. Don't talk about Daredevil. Don't talk about Daredevil.
Nope.
I will throw the mic at you.
Has everybody seen his?
Jessica Jones.
Go out on a limb and say that I'm willing to take a mic to the face to talk about Daredevil.
No. I'll tell you. You know what? Since we're there, I'll tell you what. Kingpin is dead on. That is like
mind you, he's so behind.
That season 1. That's the only thing that I loved about the whole thing.
Awesome.
Along with the character, but that Kingpin character is dead on. It's almost like reading the comics and he pops out.
So for you guys that are caught up, is he going to love season 2?
I'll tell you this. I know John.
It is.
John personally. I know he kicked ass as the Punisher. I know he pretty much almost stole the show.
He did.
And
It wasn't an almost.
But I never asked him when I see him. I never asked him a question about the Daredevil thing, just because I didn't want to hear no spoilers about it. And that's hard when you got Punisher next to you.
Yeah.
So, hey, so what you do?
So
Finale,
Yeah.
when you'll be looking at the screen going, "Where's the Punisher? Where is the Punisher?" Because that's how important of a character he
it is. So
Nice.
my question to you, Miss Toni, and I'm going to put this out there in a way, and hopefully it turns into something. We've had so much great, both movie and television,
Yeah.
and you're an amazing costumer.
Well, thanks.
And it's taken me a year to not call her a cosplayer. So
Yay!
one too many punches to the eye, I'll start to learn.
That's not true. I'm non-violent. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Anywho,
Hiya!
with all the new stuff out, I know there's some costumes that you've hated.
There have been some horrible costumes.
Don't
that I
ask
have
her about
despised.
Supergirl or the costuming.
God, I wish there was a way to flick that full body eye roll into the microphone.
You
It's
what?
horrible, isn't it?
What the on the show? Super.
Yes.
I'll admit. I'm not even joking. You can even tell in the trailer for like 5 seconds they flash over her shoulder. They might as well have just put the word oven mitt. Like, it's horrible. Okay.
And none of the costumes on the show itself even have been impressive,
No.
which
Yeah.
is sad.
No.
And this lady's like, I know.
It's so disappointing,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because I could give...
The storyline's good.
Yeah. I don't... Yeah.
So
Not impressed.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
Not
ask.
Supergirl at all, but I was like, oh, maybe the costuming would be cool, and I could get through like 4 episodes. No, I made it through like half of the first one.
And again, I like Supergirl. I'm that kind of person that likes that show. Story wise, I agree with the costume. I think if they did a similar,
that side of the table.
I think if they did a similar like Smallville type deal where they limit the costumes and all the original stuff, you know, that way you can actually have a better villain look instead of, you know, trying to have a full-fledged villain with the whole costume. And I don't know, I just think that's kind of the rule of thumb for that.
We have a question from the audience.
I have a question.
Are you a nerd, sir?
I have a question.
Are you a nerd, sir? you have to only ask geek questions in this panel.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And we have, and for those of you that don't know, this is the man that's in charge of this madness. This is Ken. He's in charge of Cape Comic Con, and everybody's having a great time at Cape Comic Con, right?
I didn't mean to crash your party.
You go right ahead. Come on
Did
in.
you all join together and marry together for one big, huge, cool panel?
No, he's staying for his panel.
He's our special.
He's our special guest on Fanatics and the Fan.
I was looking for him, and it was the last place. He's early and on time and ready to get going.
And he will actually. I made sure he has not said anything that he would need to say in his panel, so it's not even going to be a repeat. So now back to the costuming question that we.
Yeah.
Get out, Ken, get out!
Say?
I've made 2 announcements, I'll make 1 more.
Awesome.
You're here.
Yes, I'm in here like Prego.
So Toni,
I'm on it.
whose costume do you like right now?
Whose costume do I like?
Yeah,
right
whose
now?
costumes? I mean, because and I'll ask this: does anybody like love the costumes that are out right now for some of
Well,
the
if
stuff?
anyone
And if so,
here has
please
seen
come up and tell us.
Santiago's coat.
Come up and tell
This
us.
coat is amazing right now.
Goodwill.
Right? Oh, that's where I got this. As far as costumes that I love right now on TV, I don't watch it a lot, but Jessica Jones, it has.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. Because you know I'm getting ready to argue with you. How many times did I tell you look like Jessica Jones? You
That's
should
fine.
cosplay.
I haven't watched it.
Am I wrong,
but-
fans?
But
Wait a minute,
Jessica-
you haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it, no. But Jessica Jones, all the bits of, because I follow costumes, I don't have to watch it to follow the costumes. Jessica Jones and Agent Carter, it pulls from 2 genres that I love a lot, which is goth 90s and the 1940s. And they pinpoint it and they do it properly. They didn't take any modern style or modern design and reapply it to the 40s, or they didn't take any modern design and try to make it 90s grunge. They just did it.
So now we're going to be seeing a Agent Carter from you pretty soon?